And that involves a WNBA coach. Her name is Cheryl Reeve. She's a coach in the WNBA. She is the coach of the Minnesota Lynx. And during this weekend, in a game against the Indiana Fever, she was seen wearing a Trans Kid Belong t-shirt.
Buddy, you need to completely drop whatever you're doing right now. Turn your volume all the way up and listen closely, because the WNBA is reportedly in a state of unprecedented panic. We just witnessed one of the biggest voices in sports media deliver what many are calling a career-shaking truth bomb on national television, and the fallout has been described as absolutely catastrophic. What unfolded wasn't just a disagreement, it was portrayed as a direct exposure of alleged problems within professional basketball. According to this narrative, the situation even led Caitlin Clark to step out of character, walk into the front office, and reportedly demand the immediate removal of a veteran head coach. For weeks, we've watched the controversy surrounding Indiana Fever star Sophie Cunningham dominate headlines. We've seen protests, hostile reactions, and non-stop debate across the basketball world. However, instead of calming the situation and protecting the players, Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve was accused by critics of adding to the controversy, prompting StephenA Smith to publicly speak out. Just days ago, a viral video featuring StephenA Smith spread across the internet, with the headline, "You're putting yourself before the whole league," as he criticized Cheryl Reeve. But, buddy, according to these reports, that was only the beginning. As media attention intensified, Caitlin Clark was drawn into the center of the controversy. The story claims that Clark stood up for her teammate, Sophie Cunningham, challenged what she viewed as Cheryl Reeve's alleged agenda, and reportedly called for disciplinary action from the WNBA.
Can't be a male, born a male, transitioning to female, and think that you should have the right to compete with women. Not in basketball, not in football, not in boxing, not in the UFC. Hell, not even in tennis. It's an aberration when you find somebody like a Serena Williams serving 120 miles, 25 miles an hour. That's ordinary for Jokic or Jokovic. That's ordinary for Sinner. That's ordinary for Alcaraz. That was ordinary for Sampras. Agassi.
Don't skip a single second of this video, buddy, because we're breaking down StephenA Smith's explosive comments, the allegations surrounding Cheryl Reeve's coaching history, Caitlin Clark's reported ultimatum, and why many believe the WNBA has no clear answer to the controversy unfolding right now. Smash that subscribe button, leave a like, and let's dive into this story. To understand why the sports world is talking about this situation, you have to look at the firestorm that StephenA Smith ignited on national television. The WNBA was already dealing with intense debate, as the controversy surrounding Sophie Cunningham dominated headlines. According to StephenA Smith, instead of acting as a leader, Cheryl Reeve only added fuel to the fire. On his show, StephenA Smith spoke passionately, criticizing not only Reeve's coaching decisions but also questioning her leadership. He argued that Sophie Cunningham is a player in the league who deserves support and claimed that, rather than calming the situation, Cheryl Reeve had allowed personal disagreements and politics to overshadow what was best for the WNBA. He stated, "You're putting yourself before the whole league." StephenA Smith also claimed that some veteran coaches were using off-court controversies to disrupt the Indiana Fever's chemistry. According to his comments, they knew stopping Caitlin Clark on the court would be extremely difficult, so they allegedly shifted their focus toward creating distractions around her teammates. He described the alleged strategy as desperate and motivated by fear of the league's new generation of stars. But, buddy, according to this narrative, the story doesn't end there. Supporters of this viewpoint argue that this wasn't the first time Cheryl Reeve had crossed the line, while others strongly disagree. The discussion even revisited the late 2025 playoffs, where critics pointed to a previous incident involving Reeve, claiming it reflected a pattern of controversial behavior. Those allegations continue to fuel debate among fans as the WNBA remains at the center of intense public attention.
What the hell are you talking about? not true. It is false. AJ DeBonza, not to throw his name out there, Darren Peterson, hell, pick a scrub. If you're a male and transitioning to female, you should be playing against the women. Nobody said you can't transition from male to female. The issue here is competing against the women. That's what Sophie Cunningham was talking about. That's what Riley Gaines is talking about. How are you, Coach Cheryl Reeve, and you could condone that? And then you're going to come out with a t-shirt. No regard for the WNBA. No regard for the sponsors that may be put off by that. No regard for the bottom line that might be affected because of a position that she has taken that you know is going to be politicized. Because that's what you did. No regard for that whatsoever. How is that okay?
Why was she reportedly suspended? According to the narrative, it was because her conduct during the game crossed the line. Reports claimed that the WNBA disciplined Cheryl Reeve following an incident involving a game official, alleging she aggressively confronted the referee, refused to leave the court when instructed, and made inappropriate comments during the confrontation. Critics pointed to that incident as evidence of a history of emotional outbursts when games didn't go her way. As a result, supporters of StephenA Smith's criticism argued that he wasn't speaking without context when he accused Cheryl Reeve of putting herself before the league. Instead, they claimed he was referring to a pattern of controversial behavior that had already drawn league attention. According to this storyline, however, this time Reeve had challenged the wrong player. The controversy involved Sophie Cunningham, and that meant Caitlin Clark was inevitably drawn into the situation. Buddy, if Cheryl Reeve believed StephenA Smith was her biggest obstacle, the story claims she was mistaken, because Caitlin Clark had reportedly been watching everything unfold. Throughout the season, Clark and Sophie Cunningham developed a close friendship, earning a reputation among fans as one of the league's strongest teammate duos. Their chemistry was on full display during pre-game warm-ups, where they shared laughs, joked with one another, and showed the kind of camaraderie that teammates often build over an entire season. According to the narrative, when Caitlin Clark saw what she believed was a toxic environment surrounding her closest teammate, she chose not to remain silent. Rather than releasing a simple public statement or posting on social media, reports claimed she went directly to league officials to express her concerns. According to unverified insider reports, Caitlin Clark met with WNBA leadership, defended Sophie Cunningham, and reportedly urged the league to investigate the situation while holding Cheryl Reeve accountable if any league policies had been violated.
They're back. Sophie Cunningham, questionable right elbow. When the hell did that happen? When did that pop up? Did it pop up after she posted that graphic from Evelyn about going rogue on her Instagram and Caitlin Clark commented on it? Is that when this happened? Indiana Fever? Everybody knows that you guys are attempting to punish Sophie Cunningham. We all know it. We all see it. This is ridiculous. Look at the first comment, Evelyn. You guys are a clown organization. Here it says, Sophie hurt her elbow writing this for Stephanie White, didn't she? This is what Sophie Cunningham had. I will not pass to Caitlin again. I will not pass to Caitlin Clark again. This is what they forced Sophie Cunningham to do. Okay, that's how she hurt her elbow. CDS Sports, go rogue, win game, end up on injury report. Beatings will continue until morale improves. This is ridiculous, guys. This is ridiculous. Everybody knows this is clearly punishment for Sophie Cunningham. Chloe Peterson was the first to report on it. She said, Sophie Cunningham is questionable with a right elbow injury for tomorrow's game. She participated in the portion of practice open to the media this morning. Okay. And everybody knows the whole, every comment is that this is punishment. Look here, Sophie being put in timeout for speaking what's on her mind. Okay, punishment for inbound passing to Caitlin Clark instead of Kelsey Mitchell. Stephanie White needs to go. Okay, did it happen on the drawn up play at the end? This organization is like the mafia. So everyone knows, it's clear as day that this is punishment for Sophie Cunningham. It's very, very, very obvious that this is punishment for Sophie Cunningham. The organization is a straight up clown show at this point. And then not only that, they have not addressed the smear campaign. They've gone out of their way to address any and everything else. They refuse to address the smear campaign led by Dan Dockich, who has been adamant about he's getting this information from the inside. Not only have they not
According to this narrative, this was the moment that reportedly left the WNBA in complete shock. Caitlin Clark, widely recognized as one of the league's biggest stars and a major driver of television audiences, allegedly looked league executives in the eye and delivered what supporters described as an unmistakable message. Reports claimed that Caitlin Clark called for the immediate suspension of Cheryl Reeve, arguing that the league could not ignore allegations involving a veteran coach while expecting players to be held to a different standard. According to these unverified accounts, Clark warned that if the WNBA allowed coaches with a history of disciplinary issues to contribute to what she viewed as a hostile environment surrounding players such as Sophie Cunningham, it would damage the league's credibility. The story further claims that Clark criticized what she believed was a double standard, arguing that if a player had behaved in the same way, severe fines or suspensions would likely have followed. Reports also allege that Caitlin Clark made it clear she would continue standing firmly behind Sophie Cunningham and expected the league to protect its players. According to this version of events, WNBA officials were left under intense pressure, knowing that any decision would spark major debate among fans. Supporters of the narrative argued that ignoring the concerns raised by Caitlin Clark and StephenA Smith could further divide public opinion, while critics maintained that the claims remained unverified. As a result, the controversy continued to fuel widespread discussion across the basketball world.
And so
you can pause it right there. I want you to now watch what Caitlin Clark's
nice
coach had to say when she was questioned. This is Caitlin Clark's coach. Okay, go for it.
Your stance on men or athletes who test as biological male participating in women's sports. What's your personal
Let's watch
stance?
her answer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would say that I'm educated enough from a scientific standpoint. I don't ever believe that exclusion is an answer. I just don't.
Oh my!
No, but wait a minute. You got to keep playing it. Is this the only clip we have? Oh, okay.
I think that's it.
Because she says, I used to play with men when I was a kid. I always played with men when I was a kid. And she answers the question like, I'm not a scientist. I'm not this. I'm not that. And then the game's being played yesterday. Sophie Cunningham gets hit in the face by an elbow that pretty much almost like massive foul. They called the foul on her. I don't even know if we can even play this clip or not. If you can see it, but it right there, elbowed in the face. Look at that. Right, do it again.
Whose
on the
fault
elbow.
is that?
Elbow in the face like that, and guess who got the foul? She got the foul, not the girl that went through this. So, Vinny, again, every time you think common sense is making a comeback, they do something like this. How do you react to this story?
And I know Adam's been very passionate about it. And every time Adam was like, I was kind of like in my head, like, give him a chance. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I think it's time to get rid of the WNBA, period, full stop, and I'm dead serious. Okay, I'm sick and tired of them using this. No, Adam, I'm dead serious. Like, they're hemorrhaging money every single year. Every year, how much money they're losing? To $40 million, and they keep it afloat. And I'm sick and tired of this nonsense, this trans nonsense that keeps coming up. Right when you think it's over, it keeps coming back up like a resurfacing like a damn submarine. And in regard to her shirt, trans kids belong where? In the opposite sex bathroom, or in a clinic getting injected with puberty blockers or their breasts getting taken off. You know where trans kids belong? In therapy. Okay, they belong in therapy to find out what happened. Okay, how did you get to this mindset? Who talked to you? Were you on TikTok? Okay, were you talking? Who was influencing you to try to make you feel the way that you do? Okay, that's what we need when it comes to.
Comes next. Buddy, now I want to know exactly what you think. Drop your honest thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe StephenA Smith was justified in his criticism of Cheryl Reeve on live television? And do you think the WNBA should take action based on the concerns reportedly raised by Caitlin Clark? Let your voice be heard in the comments. If you support Caitlin